Hello, viewers. A very good evening to you all. Yet another episode from Platform Toronto. And today's discussion is all about immigration, particularly immigration in Canada and beyond. We'll have two resource persons with me, and both of them are quite resourceful in the sense that, one comes from a sales background, though he is a new immigrant here, so he can explain, and deliver all his experience so far. And we have got a keynote kind of speaker for us tonight who can, from all corners, talk about Canada immigration. So, may I now have the privilege and pleasure to welcome Mr. Rizuan Rahman, barrister, solicitor, and immigration lawyer, to be with me. Hi, Rizuan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Taslim?
I'm great, Rizuan. Thank you so much for joining us. As I was saying that, we're so glad to have you because a personality of so many of dimensions rather. So one thing I forgot to mention, Brisbane, that apart from your profession, which is you're a barrister, solicitor, immigration lawyer, you are quite heavily involved with the community, particularly with the youth, which is so encouraging. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me and looking forward to a good discussion.
Great, thanks. And as I was saying that we would also be having another guest with us who is absolutely a new immigrant, have come here in a couple of weeks, a month or so we can have his experiences as well. He's a sales professional and he comes all the way from Delhi. May I have the pleasure and privilege to welcome Rahul Batra to join me.
Hi, Taslim. How are you?
Yeah,
Hi, Rizuan.
how are you?
Hey, Rahul.
I am doing very well. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, great. So as I was saying, we were talking that we have got two-person from two different parts of the world to kind of have the whole mesh of experience and talk about Canada, particularly Canadian immigration and beyond. Well, let me first go to Rizwan. In fact, when we were planning the show, there had been a lot of discussion, and we had quite a number of messages and questions. In fact, came that the whole pandemic, the COVID thing, has impacted immigration, and there is a myth or truth that it has stopped, particularly in case of Canada. So, actually, what is the status? I mean, has it really stopped? There is a backlog, or Canada doesn't want anymore. What is the status?
I think what has happened is, Taslim, it has not stopped because as a nation that depends largely on immigration, it's not an option to stop the process. What has happened is, I think it has slowed down a little, for sure, like many other areas of work that has slowed down. But the other side of the picture is that because it slowed down in the initial months for a little, we are hoping that with the right resources, the speed would pick up. And as you probably have heard from the Minister of Immigration and some other government sources, that to make up this gap where things were slow, so we didn't hit our goal, the government has come with a plan so that we actually make the speed a little quicker and make up this lag that we have, and actually have a lot of people coming in, a significant number in next 3 years. It's a lengthy process. It's not going to be done in a day or two, but the government has planned to actually make it up. So to answer your question, it has not stopped. Every single stream is going on. It may have slowed down a little. That's it.
But there was a supplementary question with it: is it going to be even more challenging or difficult to migrate to Canada from now on?
Not really, no, because the standards have not changed. The scoring system has not changed. And as of even last week, when I was dealing with a few applications, I realized that the speed has recently picked up a little, quite a bit actually. So it will not be difficult, but then again, it will not be any easier as well. The qualifications, the minimum requirements stayed exactly the same. So the numbers will entirely depend on how quickly we can process those applications. That's about it.
Oh, that's great. And talking about challenge from a different perspective, Rahul, going back to you, you have just landed in Canada probably a couple of weeks or months ago, and yet to get accustomed with, I'm thinking, a lot of things. But what do you think was your biggest challenge coming or deciding to move to Canada?
So, see, deciding to come to Canada was fairly easier. So, you just realize that, just for a better life, for a better future, you are going to go to a better country. So that's very easy. But after coming here, there are many challenges. And one of the biggest challenges which I have faced is finding for a place. When you come over here, nobody knows you. Nobody really trusts your credentials. They just want to get down to money part, or they need a guarantor. So I think that's one challenge which has always hampered to whoever I have interacted, to myself personally as well.
And when you decided, right from back home that you want to migrate, why did you choose Canada? I mean, there was, I'm sure there had been quite a couple of choices. Why Canada?
So personally, I believe in the safety. I believe in the healthcare. And when I talk about both of these things, Canada comes at the top. And plus, I'm a happy person. So if you want to be happy, if you want people around you to be happier, and if your family, you care about your family, your children's education. Although I don't have children at the moment, but yeah, in order to have the future, when I talk about the future, then definitely Canada ranks top at the top of the mind. Even if there are other countries in Europe or maybe Australia or some other places, but Canada remains at the top. And plus, the place I come from, South Asian countries. So there is a lot of support over here. As in, when I talk about the South Asian countries, there are a lot of communities of South Asian people as well. So you feel like home.
Well, so that's from the horse's mouth. But going back to Rizuan, from the flip side of the coin, why do you think Canada is a better choice?
Taslim, I myself am an immigrant, right? I came to Canada a few years ago, and I can tell you from my own perspective. So when people decide, or people want to decide which country to go to, as Rahul has pointed out, a few of the considerations are, of course, like the society, the healthcare system, and other support system. But at the same time, I think another point to consider is the opportunity. I personally have always believed that even though the land of opportunity, that phrase, is tied with US, I personally believe that Canada has equal, or in some areas even more, opportunities than many other countries. So I call Canada a country of opportunities. Now, this tagline is not easy. I mean, opportunity is not just going to walk and, come and knock on your door. For some few lucky ones, it does. But for most of us, you have to be open to find those opportunities, right? If you are a professional, if you are a skilled worker, if you have a vision to start your own business, I think in Canada we have a very supportive system, starting from the federal government, the provincial government, and the social norms. So I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of people choose Canada. And if you add the a society which is tolerant and welcoming, obviously it just serves you like the best option in front of you. I don't believe in ranking countries based on which country is the best in this, because there are a lot of countries, quite a few, who would fall in the same bucket, like some of the Scandinavian countries, some countries in Europe. But the next factor comes, which of these countries are actually welcoming to immigrants. There are a lot of countries which have a lot of opportunities, good healthcare system, good law and order, but not all of them are welcoming to immigrants, right? So I think a blend of all this makes Canada as the best possible option.
No, that's wonderful, and we're lucky enough that we're one of the finest places possible to live and stay in.
Indeed.
But going back to it, since we're here, there are many people who want to, right? And this whole pandemic, the recent situation has really propagated public perception to immigrate to a better place. So there's one the question, which is a very straightforward one, which is, I mean, what are the basic categories now people can think oneself to move? I mean, obviously, you and your firm works on this quite rigorously, but for our viewers who are here in Toronto, or it is being broadcasted through Rahul to India, through us to other part of the world, Bangladesh and all. So just to give a short, quick overview of the categories that you are working out for people to come and migrate to Canada, just a view from you.
That's a very good question, Taslim, and I'm happy to say that, and I tell this to all my clients as well, that there are at least 25 to 30 ways to come to Canada, right? Now, what you have to do as a person who's considering immigration, you have to find out which out of these 30 ways you will follow, right? And that decision would be based on your skills, your experience, and and to some extent what you actually want to do in life. I always tell people that immigration is actually a second chance. I took it as a second chance to build my life, right? And many people do. So when you're given with a second chance, either you can stay with what you have been doing, which means that probably if you're working somewhere, you'll apply as a skilled immigrant, try to find a job and come with the work permit. Or if you are an entrepreneur and if you have that spirit, maybe you would consider one of those entrepreneurial routes, right? So I always tell my clients that don't just tell yourself that, okay, I have been doing something for the last 10 years, so this is the only option I have. No, that is not true. Your options, and out of the 30 routes that I've said roughly, the one you will pick should be what you want to do after coming here. Now, obviously, the experience helps because, like, if you have 10 years of experience in IT, if you apply in the skilled worker IT stream, it helps. But remember that having an IT experience, and if you're in a much higher role, it gives you the option to come as an entrepreneur as well, right? For an IT organization. So to answer in short, I would say that there are a lot of ways: skilled immigration, work permit, provincial nomination through entrepreneurship, federal investor category, which is now renamed as startup visa. So there are a lot of categories, all the pilot projects. You just have to work with somebody who knows all these available options and pick the one that is best for you.
And I'm sure your firm, once somebody approaches, you go discuss with him and go very rigorously in detail with him as to what he really wants to or is aiming at, and then you kind of advise him or her to be exercising the immigration. Is that
Right.
you?
Right.
Great. So Rahul, going back to you, you were talking about support. I think Rizuan can also, answer a bit on this, add rather to you. I mean, we're talking about a couple of supports or mandatory supports, if I may say, that one might require as a new immigrant. You're talking about housing. There are many other areas as well where you might, or one new immigrant might require support. So can you please throw a little light on that? I mean, what could have been better? What support, if there, or is there, but you don't know maybe? So Rizwan can also add to your perspective. So what support were you talking about? What are the areas?
So, when I talk about the support, everything is available in Canada. There is no doubt about it. The government supports you in many other ways. There are many other support programs which just go unnoticed. If there was one system of information, so, I'm very lucky to come in contact with an individual like Taslim, who helped me through, who made me understand many of the things which I could not have understood, which I could not have actually known. So there has to be a portal of information where a new immigrant, although there are portals, but the information there is not rich. The problem is the information. Everything is available. It's not like that the government need to influx a lot of more cash into the economy or for the new immigrants in order to help them through. But yes, the information has to be there. Information about the provincial programs, information about the federal programs, whether it is Canada Recovery Benefit Program, anything else, which something is for unemployed, some programs are for employed. So there is a range of efforts which are made by the Canadian government and provincial government as well. They all have to come to one single platform for an individual to have a look at. Okay, this is something which I can do. If I have come here, I can apply for more education over here. I can learn few programs here, things like that. That's all.
So what you're saying is the information is also available, but it has to come under one umbrella, right? Which is
better. It's better if it comes under one umbrella.
So going back to Rizwan on this issue, you have been working with quite a number of institutions, in the community, apart from your professional. Do you feel the same, that the government has all in it? Of course, it's providing all the information is there, the schemes are there, programs are there, but they are not really integrated, or maybe not really under the same umbrella, or not really known to a person, like Rahul who's come recently? And if it is the case, do you think you have a role to play in it?
Uh, I think yes, we all have a role to play, Taslim. Me, yourself, people who are like, who have spent a few years here, we all have a role to play. Uh, Starting from the point where availability of this support or information, it is all, it is sometimes difficult to cover all the areas in one portal or in one source of information, right? And there are certain information that is hard to put in a page if you're writing about it. I'll give you one example about employment, right? Now, most people, when they come to Canada, they'll hear that in Canada, you have to have a good network to have good employment. And the challenge any newcomer faces is that, well, I don't know people. How do I build that network? Right? So it's almost like a catch 22. You need a network to get job, but then because you haven't worked before here, you don't have people in the right industry, right? Now that is an area which it's not possible for any government or one agency to actually offer services in this area, and that is where all the social agencies or like non-profit agencies who are focused in the employment area, they have a role to play. I lead one of the organizations like this, where what we do is it's a nonprofit organization, and we host networking dinners. So what we essentially do is each of us, I'm sure Taslim, you have a few friends who work in different corporations in roles who have some influence, right? Or hiring managers. So what we do, me and my friends, we get together and we invite new immigrants who are interested to seek employment in corporate world, right? So nothing else, no lecture, nothing. People just come together, a few of them, get to know each other, and this is the start of the networking, right? Now, these are information that I think, yes, we have to make sure that it's public so that people know. But at the same time, the new immigrant also has to look for these kind of initiatives, right? That's number one, focusing on just one area. And I think the key to success is you have to have a mindset that I'm starting fresh. It's like a newborn, right? You have to go back to your early years of your employment or right after you graduated. You didn't know many people in the industry, no matter which country you are from. And you had to build that. So when you come to Canada, no matter how many years of experience you had in your home country, you have to start from scratch. So you convince yourself that I'm starting fresh. So I have to go through all those steps that I have already gone through, reaching out to people, finding what are the key players in my industry, and trying to find people who work in those industry. So if you follow these kind of rules, I think it would be much easier than otherwise if you have a plan and if you convince yourself that I just have to find people who are already working here. Just bring down the shyness and the barriers that sometimes we have as human beings we have built around us.
So, being a resource person, for particularly from that genre, I think me, Rahul, we have got at least one for sure resource person who's here with us, and we'll keep getting back to you as to having your support and guidance in the days to come.
Mhm.
Rahul, you already have Rizuan to support you, and you can reach out to him if there's anything that can be done for the network part. So, Rizuan, going back to it once again, from a very again one straightforward thing is like, say for example, somebody decides to migrate to Canada, right? What do you think should be her pre and post preparations, regardless of the category, being
Right.
skill, business? There is a mindset thing, right? There are certain basic, preparations that one has to have. So, from right from the horse's mouth, as I was saying, that we want to hear from you that how should I, when I have decided that I want to migrate to Canada, then what should be the pre and post engagements in my mind, perceptions, preparations I should have to get it done successfully?
Right. And this is a very, very important question you asked, Taslim. Thank you. Oftentimes we forget about these topics. So I think the first thing anyone who's planning to immigrate should think about is what's the reason of of immigration, of them leaving their country, their all family and like friends and coming to India? What is the reason? Because too many times I've heard parents saying that I did it for my children, right? This is just one example, and that is a fatal. I would say that is not the right reason to immigrate, right? And the reason why I say this because uh, yes, obviously we love our children, we want to give them a better life, but for them to go up to that level, there is a few years of time when we have to be actually still in charge, right? So we have to be happy, we have to be satisfied, and only then our children will have a good life, a better life. So it's really important that don't migrate for anybody else. Migrate for yourself, right? So that's the first thing I always ask people. Whoever tells me that I want to migrate for this reason, that reason, for this person, that person, no. Migrate for yourself. Then it becomes easy to take your decision. And once you convince yourself, what are the points that you'll consider? First thing is, will this give me a better life than where I am already, right? And once you ask that question, the obvious questions are like, okay, what is a better life? Will I get a better job? Will I have like there are so many components. So go through step by step all of them, the social security, the security, the support in healthcare, and all the nice things. So put them all together and then make your decision. Okay, does the pro and con, the balance of it, suggest that I should migrate? So this should be the pre-thought process of any immigrant, that okay, I'm going somewhere, because I have seen way too many people coming here, and then some of the areas which are mostly immigrant dominated, I've seen so many people who are not happy, so what happens, that sadness translates into their personal life. That sadness affects the same children that they actually sacrifice for, right? So you have to consider those things as well. Having said that, yes, with the life that we have in Canada, it actually makes sense no matter, well, I shouldn't say every country, but most of the countries in the world, if you compare, we have a better quality of life. So, yes, that answer should be fairly easy. So, the other areas you need to consider is, of course, the job prospect. You need to understand that if I want to be a corporate professional, what should be the realistic expectation I should set, right? If I'm a VP of an organization in, let's say, Bangladesh, is it reasonable for me to expect that I would be a VP in Canada? It's not reasonable. I'll give you the answer. It's not reasonable. So you have to be ready that, okay, I may not be a VP, but maybe I'll start from a managerial role or even assistant managerial role. Now, yes, this is for lack of better word, it's a demotion, if you will, right? But the other points you're getting, like the healthcare, the safety, security, and everything, should compensate for that, and you should be a happy person. So sorry, I'm taking a lot of time, but I just wanna make sure that people understand that
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
that what you need to do is ask yourself why you want to migrate, and then find the answers that, okay, on the balance of probability, will I have a better opportunity in Canada, and then make your move.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure that a large portion of the people don't really think the way that you have deliberated. It's a one-way thing that they think. They don't really. I mean, let's hear it from Rahul. Since we have here a completely new Canadian. Rahul, did you think this way? I mean, did the analogy as Rizuan was saying? Did it work this way in your mind, or you have some other perspectives or flip side of the coin?
So you'll be surprised, Taslim, but yeah, I actually thought the way Rizwan actually explained. So I thought about myself, I thought about my family. In fact, I have convinced my own brother and his wife and my parents and everybody, even my wife's brother, everybody. I'm the sole person why everybody is here or coming over here. So my first thought was why I want to go there, and the reason was exactly what Rizwan said, that healthcare, education, and all those things for myself. And yes, it's a land of opportunities. And if I look at Canada 10 years down the line, Canada might become the superpower. So economically also, it's a good decision. And in fact, one added factor for me coming over here was that it's a cleaner air, it's an environment. I suffer from deviated nasal septum. It's a common disorder in South Asia, where the septum is one of my nostril is always blocked. And after coming to Canada, it's just been a couple of months, and I haven't really felt the slightest of the symptom. I've been able to breathe very, very, very well. So I can definitely see the difference in myself. So I'm glad that Rizuan, whatever Rizuan said, that actually resonates with how I made my decision of coming over here.
So now tell me, since you are kind of, passing on the positivity to your relatives to come to Canada too, or migrate to Canada too, what is the most frequently asked question that you are facing from them?
Exactly what Rizuan said. Am I going to get the same position out there? And I say, no, you're not going to get it. But yes, rest everything aside, rest everything around it makes it worth it. You come here, you struggle. But it's exactly how you start your career. So if I start my career, it's just about the age. If I am 30 right now, and what if I was 25? What if I was 24? Then everything would make sense. Just that. Now, if I tell everybody that I'm 24, then now everything would make sense that you're restarting your career. So in my mind, I'm 24 right now. I'm not even 30. So in my mind I'm 24, I'm able to do everything, and that is the only thing which I convince to everybody and tell them that career you will be able to reach wherever you are in a couple of years or maybe 5 years. But apart from that, the healthcare, the fresh air, and everything you will not get anywhere else. So that is why you should consider Canada.
Yes, and if I could, Taslim, if I could add to that, uh, as I said, and as Rahul also said, that yes, the expectation should be that you will not have the same position that you had back home. But at the same time, I also want to make sure that it's also understood properly that, remember when I said it's a country of opportunity? The reason why I said this, because yes, you will probably, not probably, most likely, you will start at a lower position. But where the opportunity comes is once you prove yourself, right, you will climb much faster than your peers. I'll give you a real life example. I'll give you my example. I was a practicing barrister in Bangladesh, right? And when I came here, the first job I did was at a call center, right? And I worked as a call center agent for an internet company providing technical support for internet connections. Now, you can imagine a lawyer who has very limited knowledge about IT or anything working in a call center, and what kind of things would go through my mind. And I used to finish my shift at 2 o'clock at night in winter in Canada, right? Now, the reason why I say this, because that is where I started. And then eventually, one thing I kept in my mind is that I have to build a network, which happened. And the next job I had was as a business analyst, right? In a retail chain, nowhere near a lawyer's profession. But I said, yes, I will take it. Now, obviously, the interview process, I had to convince them that even though I have law degree, I have transferable skills, which they actually called out that, yes, we are really happy that you have those skills. But I had to convince them that I have those skills, that if you give me the opportunity, I will learn and I will deliver. So once they gave me the opportunity, it was the starting position in a corporation. I worked really hard, hours after hours outside the regular hours, just to learn Microsoft Excel because I had zero knowledge of Microsoft Excel, being a lawyer, right? So I learned and I delivered. And within 2 years, actually 18 months to be exact, I got the responsibility of a district of stores which had 11 superstores. I'm talking about Target Canada. I was the analyst in charge for Niagara St. Catharines region, right? Then I moved to Johnson and Johnson, which is another different kind of corporation, a CPG company, right? So I don't want to go into too much detail, but once again, I had to prove my skills. There were a lot of CPG principles that I had no clue about, but I used my lawyer knowledge and the retail knowledge to convince them that if you give me the opportunity, I'll prove myself and I'll deliver, which I did. And until a few months ago, before I started my own law practice, I ended up in a position where I was in charge of the entire country's supply chain management system for Johnson and Johnson medical devices. Nothing to do with law, right? And eventually, I finally was able to transfer to law. So the journey that I've shared is because That is the mindset you have to have, that yes, I am doing good here. And when I go to Canada or any country for that matter of fact, I will not start from where I'm living here. But with the right mindset, I have the opportunity at least to climb up there much quicker and much and get a lot of wins in that way. That's the mindset every immigrant should have.
Wow, such a fascinating experience and so thoughtful. Thanks, Rizwan, for sharing, because I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people, because people who like me, Rahul, whoever comes new find it difficult, to place themselves, and particularly the mindset issue that you were referring back every other time, that needs to be there. Yes, and I agree with Rahul that capacity is a state of mind. You're not 24. I would rather say you're at 18, and you have the full strength to go full ahead. And the other question that I wanted to really go back to Rizwan as well. There was a kind of a discussion when we were planning this uh, talk show or session. There were a couple of comments that or inquiries that came in. I mean, since you are here as a resource person with a lot of experiences from both the worlds, both the parts and all. So, if people want to reach out to you, or if you could give a short, quick overview of the services or the supports or the assistance that you can precisely provide to the immigrants who are planning to come or who have already arrived here, would have been a great thing for the viewers.
Yeah, sure, sure. Taslim, first thing I want to mention is that I have a bit of a different kind of practice, in a sense, because as I said before, I started my practice officially in Canada. I worked a lot for the community, different communities. When I say community, I mean I don't mean any ethnic communities. Overall, I have worked a lot with people. So I have a certain level of commitment to the people, and every client that I deal with, it's not just like closing a file and then forgetting about that. So that's why maybe some of the viewers, they will think, okay, if this is an immigration lawyer, why is he not selling the immigration so much? Why is he using all those cautionary tales, right? And that's exactly the reason why I say all those cautionary tales, because I want everyone to be happy when they come to Canada, no matter which stream they came through, right? The services that my firm provides is obviously all kind of immigration related ones. So we process skilled immigration applications, we process entrepreneur street, whether it's provincial or federal. We process a lot of family plus immigrations, work permits, and yes, we do a lot of asylum and refugee claims as well. So we kind of try to offer a full service immigration portfolio that people can actually take services from. And obviously, I'm sure if you want, we will share how they can reach out to me or my firm
Sure.
to seek further advice.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll take it from you at the back end of the show, so that we can translate it and transfer it to all the people who really are interested to get in touch with you. Now, Rahul, there's a little question that came in the meantime for you. The question is, as a new immigrant, what would be your advice for the people who are just about to fly to Canada? Uh, I mean, I think the question is like, people. Some people might have already have been done with all the papers and everything. Now he's about to fly. So, what would be your advice to kind of for them?
So, my first and foremost advice for them would be start knowing people here. As Rizwan also said, it's catch-22 situation where you come over here, you haven't worked, and you don't have a network. But there is a way to build network, which I learned after coming here, and people can take advantage of that particular thing right now. Before coming here, make a list of companies with which you want to work with, and then go to those companies LinkedIn profiles and search for any people from your own country working in those companies. If you find even 10 people, just send request and get associated with them. That is the way you build a network before coming here, so that when you come over here, you have somebody with whom you can talk. Because when I came over here, it took me a lot of time to start knowing people. And after I started knowing people, I realized that these are the only people, and I could have known them before even coming over here. There are college groups. So the college in which I studied, there is a WhatsApp group of that particular college for Canada, and I joined that group, and I realized that there are people who haven't yet come to Canada, and still they are part of that group. So it's easier. It's not that difficult. So this is the only advice I can give right now.
Well, thanks. And Rizwan, there's a question from, particularly from Dhaka, that there are facilitators. I mean, I'm sure they're referring to immigration lawyers here, who make it unnecessarily difficult for people who want to migrate, especially in countries like Canada. So, how would, or what would be the best way for them to reach out to the appropriate person? I think we have already got the appropriate person. Mr. Rizwan is here with us, but then again, I wish to have the answer from you. I mean, there are every opportunity that people might be misleaded. I mean, and you're going to the wrong person for the right reasons, right? So, how would you suggest? I'm sure doesn't really apply for Dhaka or Bangladesh. It applies for all across. I mean,
Yeah.
the right person. What would be your say in this regard?
See, obviously every immigration file is unique, right? And I always tell people that essentially what you're trying to do, you're trying to tell a story with some hard and dry forms. So you have to be really careful about, like, filling up those forms, and at the same time preparing the paperwork. And probably that's why different lawyers will have different approach. But and you don't have to reach out to just me, like, any lawyer that you want to reach out to the audience, I'm saying, make sure that that lawyer at least has the desire or the intention to stay in touch and keep you posted. Because honestly speaking, there is no guarantee. If anybody tells you that, like, your success is guaranteed, with all due respect, I'll say that's misinformation. No one can guarantee any immigration. So what do you look for? Why would you go to a lawyer? So that you have somebody who's expert in the area who will be joining you as a team. You work as a team, and then whatever challenges you come, you deal together. So that's why it's really essential that you work with people who have that mindset, who have that attitude. Now, there are different ways, like, it differ, like, different people speak in different ways. Some people make things sound way too easy, which are actually not, and some people make things sound difficult. End of the day, it's on the applicant to decide that, okay, what are the key information. And first of all, like, to gauge the sense of comfort, I think that is most important. Forget about who's making it complicated or who's making it easy. Just make sure that the guy you're dealing with, the person you're dealing with, you're comfortable dealing with them, and they are willing to work with you as a team. It's not a matter of a week or 2 weeks. Every immigration application takes, like, months, sometimes even more than a year. So it's really essential that you and your consultant or your lawyer remain as a team and work together.
Yeah, and the same person, had the request that we share your details, so that if not for him, but for probably anybody he
Yeah,
wants.
sure.
So we will obviously, to you, we are saying that after the show we will, in our page and all communication, post in Mr. Rizwan's details as to how to reach to him, or his firm to get assistance from. So that's answering that question. And the other one that's to Rahul was, since you know how to go about it, at least for the beginners, why don't you open up a little group where newcomers can get support from? Rahul, what would you just say on that?
Okay, so when I came over, I started a WhatsApp group. There's a very small WhatsApp group where we started helping people who, because we came during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, there were a lot of people who were stuck because of their COPR getting expired, there was a date or something. So there were a lot of issues which people were facing. So because we came over here, we started a WhatsApp group, and we helped around 4 or 5 people also. So if anybody wants to join it, I can give the group, I can give the link of that group, and people can join that group. That's not a problem.
So to answer this, to the viewer who has particularly asked this question, that link will also be provided by us. We get from you, we will publish it. So Rahul, we are getting close to the end. So what would be your last couple of words or remarks as a new immigrant to Canada?
Canada, it's a beautiful country, and there's a lot of good food and good places to go to. And yes, a good career is also on the horizon. So buckle up, and it's a great country to be in at the right time. Yeah.
Thanks, Rahul, for being with us. And for Rizwan, yes, since we do it, in episodes, I think there are a couple of issues. There are a series of questions and areas that people really want to get views from, but unfortunately, we can't address it today because of the time constraint. So I would publicly request you to accept our invitation one more or two more,
For
three
sure.
more times to please join us to address those issues, because I think the issue that I started with, there is a propagation of perception, mindset, exercise, or eagerness for people to migrate more in the recent times. So that is exactly why these issues have come in. So not addressing these issues, I would rather request you publicly through the show that please do accept our invitation
For
in a
sure.
very short while, so that we can have you once more to address these issues and talk to the people who are interested in. But before we end up, we want your closing remarks today.
Of course. It's always a delight to have a chat with you, Taslim. On screen and off screen all the time. So I'll be delighted to join you guys. Closing remarks. First thing I want to say is that there are a lot of support available. Uh, and just one more point, volunteering, right? Oftentimes we think that we are already newcomers here, we're struggling for money and everything. Do I even have the time or energy to volunteer? But always keep in mind that by volunteering, you're actually doing yourself a service, because you are getting to know a lot of people. I've known a lot of people through my volunteering work, and quite a few people who are really in higher positions. I have met them through a project of Habitat for Humanity. We built homes together, and now we're good buddies, right? So volunteering for anyone who has come to Canada, please allocate a few hours, maybe a week or a month for volunteering work. That's one. And people who want to come to Canada, I will say this: that don't get demoralized by negative stories that, oh, there is a lot of discrimination, and some of the stories that even maybe I have shared, the remarks that it's difficult. It is difficult, there's no doubt about it, but there are opportunities. You have, at least I can tell about me in Bangladesh, or Taslim, we have already overcome a lot of challenges in our life, in our career. So what's the harm in adding a few more, right? If that allows us to, live and settle in Canada and earn a good living for us, why not? So just take your immigration dreams with those pointers in your mind, that yes, we already have overcome a lot of challenges, discrimination, language barriers, and all those things. We'll just overcome a few more, right? And reach out to people, stay connected. I think it will be one of the best decisions that you'll ever make in your life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all the fascinating, encouraging, and inspiring thoughts, Rizwan, and obviously the experiences from Rahul. Yeah, there's again one compliment rather, that Rahul spoke his mind. Yeah, Rahul spoke his mind because it was true to what he said, and of course, we would also like to reach out to Rahul once again to be a part of another episode, so that as time progresses, how is his experience progressing in Canada?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It will be a delightful experience for me as well.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thanks to both of you, for joining me tonight. And as I have, all these things in my mobile phone, I'm sure that very shortly I have to get back to you guys once again to have another episode, because there are issues, there are questions that I could not raise because of the question. And since you graciously agreed, certainly we're going to reach back to you. And thank you very much for joining me tonight. And
Thank you.
Thank you, Taslim. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Taslim. Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.